Well, hello again, everybody. And for the second time this beautiful Monday, welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa. And I see Morné's in the back room. I thought he was going to pop on, but okay, he's in the back room. And I have...
Well, I'm going
there,
to pop on.
yeah, there you are. And I have beautiful Yanna, my gorgeous friend Yola, who you guys have met before, all the way from Nam. So you see Morné's in Swakopmund, Yanna's in Windhoek, and I'm in Sedgefield. In Safa. But it's really good to have you. And as you know, and I can see you guys are frozen, my internet is Fogola Opera today. So I'm just gonna wing it here. Apparently you can hear me, I think. Can you still hear me? You might not.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Yeah. You guys freeze every now and again. So I've just said to Yanna as well, if I flip in and out, I'll be back. It's just internet for the next couple of days. Not only do we have 10 hours of load shedding, but now my internet's down as well. So I'm very Africanized here today. Anyway, it's lovely. Still the best place on the planet, that's for sure. And yes, now I am with beautiful Yanna and of course Morné. And Yanna, who you've met before, is currently doing her PhD, working with amazing people, amazing concepts. And today we are going to be looking at challenging the stereotypes. And that would be about really, the whole human-animal conflict that we experience, especially in Africa. And Yanna at the moment is doing some incredible travels where I think it's the Hereros. What tribe are you dealing with right now?
I dare you, Chantelle, say it. Ehirovipuka is where I'm working.
Ehirovipuka.
Ehirovipuka. It's an Obahera conservancy.
Ehirovipuka.
There we go! Yay! And it borders the Etosha National Park. So these people are essentially right on the boundary of the park. The fences can be kept better. And they've been living there for centuries. They've just been pushed out of the park now. So the park has its own boundaries and they are pushed out. Yeah.
Let us talk about them first, because I think it's really good to give people an understanding of what we're dealing with here. Africa has always been seen as, Donald Trump called us the shithole. Africa's a shithole. A couple of years ago. We're not a shithole, I promise you. We are a beautiful, magnificent continent where once you've been here, trust me, you will not want to leave again. Africa is something... It is in your soul. It is in your bones. It flows in your blood. And whether you are a fair-skinned African or a dark-skinned African, honestly, our blood pumps to the same rhythm. That's for sure. So I think it's really important to understand, for people to understand how many of these incredibly important tribes have been crushed by the governments, pushed aside, disregarded, and yet they hold the most important thread of our human existence that connects us to not only each other, but to animal life, to nature, to all these things. These are the people. Guys, I can't tell you enough how important these interviews are. The ones we're doing here. And I know mostly they are not the most popular interviews we do. And that's obviously we can see by the amount of views we get. And that's okay, because those who are going to see it are going to benefit, because this is vital life information. When we can learn from the elders, and when I talk about the elders, I'm talking about the elders on the planet. And I have a lot of dealings with Australia's First Nation people as well, who have very similar values and who have very similar concepts, and are really fighting, as well as the Khoisan people here in Africa. We're really fighting to bring this knowledge to the fore again and modernize this and use this knowledge, this information in a modern day world. We don't want to, no one's saying you got to go back and live in a mud hut if you don't want to. If you want to, that's available to you as well. But no one is saying you have to. It's really about understanding the concepts that enable us to live a successful life on earth. And what is successful? Is it how much money you have in the bank? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. That might buy you numbing agents. That numbs you up. But when we really go to the core of our people, to the core of our tribes, to the core of what we really need to be doing on this planet as a species, this is what we need to be looking at. And I'm very grateful to have you because, Yanna, you are probably one of the most smartest people I know. Look at her. Look at her. She's brilliant. Yeah, she's brilliant. She's full of shit. She's one of my besties. I love her to death. Okay, I miss her dearly. I haven't seen her for maybe 3 years now. Yeah. So it's really good to see you. And I'm very... Honestly, it's such a pleasure to have conversations with you around this because I know we singing off the same song sheet. And I'm so happy that you are in a position now, that you've put yourself in a position where you can officially do your PhD on these very important subjects and take your government to task, because that's ultimately what you're going to be doing with this information, right?
Well, it wasn't what I thought would happen, but it appears from my second field trip that's might have to happen. Yes.
Where's Yanna?
Actually,
is it just me?
I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm good. It's you. It's you. So it appears that we might have to challenge our conservancy model, even though our community-based resource management model is so lauded. There appears to be some serious gaps in the way that it was structured and the way that these communities in these conservancies, which they have established voluntarily, but the rules that are imposed upon them are a bit limiting. So, and it's actually...
What rules? And what are these rules? And who imposed these rules?
Okay, so it's just really the conservancy model. So communities get together and they choose an area where they say, okay, so this is sort of our communal ancestral land. And we want to set up a conservancy here, but it's only in the communal areas. Obviously, commercial farmers have also got their own sort of conservancies where they've taken down fences and whatever. But this is entirely different. So now you've got these communal farmers, and in my case, right there, their border is right on Etosha. They are right there, like the main road and the parks here and the cattle are here. It's like right there. And then they set up their own sort of constitution, but the government gives them hunting quotas, which the Conservancy Management Committee has to hunt. And then the government has rules. So they essentially...
Hang on, are you saying that they are not allowed to hunt for themselves? Why not? That is absolutely shocking.
No, they're not allowed to hunt. And this is the worst part. It appears from the way the model is structured that the communities must take responsibility of living with lion and elephant and hyena and cheetah and leopard, but they don't own them. So the buck stops with government. So whatever happens, if the elephant comes and destroys your garden, you can do nothing until it's declared a problem animal, which takes months and lots of proof and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And only then can action be taken. So they take responsibility for living with the animals, but government owns them and makes the rules regarding them. So the community members can't hunt.
Okay. How long has this actually been in place? Because I find this horrific.
Around about 95. It started about 95, yeah, when the conservancies really started taking off. We have about 86 conservancies. The same rules.
So that was after. So that was not long after Namibia gained its independence.
This is an independent. This is an independent Namibian rule. This is not a. Comes no way.
What's behind this law? What's behind this law? Why have they made this law for the people?
My very, 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 very personal opinion. They don't trust the communities. They don't trust.
For what?
Government doesn't trust.
To do what?
To conserve. To conserve. They don't trust
But
them to be
isn't it really just
responsible.
government that wants control? Let's look at it this way. Isn't it government that wants control at the end of the day?
That I don't know, because I don't know what control they have, because they have to keep, they're paying out millions in compensation for human wildlife conflict losses. And the communities, it's just this, it's almost, Chantelle, as though it was, let's pacify the landless beast. And then
Oh
we'll
my
sort
God.
of we'll put them in control of this area while we have oversight and ownership.
Yeah. And they give them jobs, and they give them like
Wow.
jobs in the area, compensate them.
Tragic.
So there's
Yeah, and
no
just
traditional hunting. There's no, these people cannot live out their cultures at all. At all.
Yeah.
I mean, the eland is so important for the Ovaherero. They explained to me that it has on its chest, it has this huge lump of fat, which they then boil down and they use in the dry months for oil and even the himba. So, and then, you know, with a wild perfume, and they put it on their skins and stuff. They haven't seen eland in 5 years. And if there is an eland shot, even though they ask for quota, if there is an eland shot by the Conservancy Management Committee, whoever goes to do the actual hunting, if there is one shot, then it's sort of distributed amongst this village. And then maybe next year the other village can get, but there's like 50 villages. So, and then you get a piece of meat. You don't actually get, you know, so it's a, that's my feeling that I'm getting. I mean, my work is still early days, but my feeling really is that it's limited. The benefits to these communities are severely limited. Very limited.
So you've just actually this past weekend been to visit them. And
Yes.
I mean, there is nothing more spiritually uplifting than spending time with some of the earth's most ancient people and in their beautiful ancient space that even though they've been shoved to the corner of, I
No,
don't
look,
even know.
Chantelle, it was their space. It was where he is currently was part of the Ovaherero space, but so was the whole western area of Etosha. Etosha was shared by many indigenous tribes, but well, okay, let me just explain quickly. The Ovaherero are part of the Central African migration in the 1500s. So they're not the Haikam people, they're not the Jukwasi, and nobody knows quite where the Damara come from. They speak a very Nama language, but the Namas arrived in 1200s and they were in the south. That's still an area that I have to investigate. So I'm focusing on the Ovaherero now. It's a very strong, very proud, very warring nation. But they lived in the western side of Etosha and that whole Ehi area where I'm currently working. The thing is just they had more space. It's a dry area, but they had more space and they had options, which they no longer have. So you're stuck now in this area. This is your village. These are your cattle. This is where they graze. And if it's done, it's done. So you can't, in the old days, if they knew
That's
the lions were
tragic.
over there, yes, and the drought was coming, they would
I don't
move.
even know how to, I don't even know what does one say to that, because how do you say that to proud people? How do you do that? What is the solution here? I mean, how long does, honestly, Yanna, for me, especially, I find this insane to think about, because especially if that happened after 90, right? When Namibia gained its independence from South Africa. I can understand the apartheid government imposing those kind of laws on the first people or of the first people, but their own people imposing. You see, this is what I don't get about Africa.
It's an extension, Chantelle. It's an extension. It's what we call decolonizing nature. It's this whole thing. Like the other day when I was speaking about the eco-feminist theory. But we have to decolonize not just our politics, but also our minds. And you must understand that if you want to decolonize nature, you have to, those communal areas, before they were conservancies and got self-governance, which they don't really have, but self-governance, were just communal farming areas. And the apartheid government just sort of let them be because they're just primitive and they're pastoral. Look, they don't even build a house, even though they have to be pastoral for the drought. They have to, and they can actually survive there where many commercial farmers cannot. So all the SWAPO government did was they said, we'll give you control and you can have your own conservancy with your own constitution, but we own the game. Sorry. Tough. Graze your 10 cattle. We own the game. Yes.
So it really is, the most powerful will obviously, as usual, flex their little muscles, right? So
the only thing that SWAPO did was
the way that it is right now.
Yeah,
okay, so with that being what it is, talk us through this past weekend experience that you've just had. I know that you've had some really amazing times with the people there. Tell us what that was like, and what are they like? What do they have to say about this? How do they engage as one of the? I mean, the most common one for us is always the Khoisan. We hear a lot about the Bushmen and the Khoisan, and how, but we don't often hear about the other tribes as well that really have been around for as long, and the way they work with nature. What do you learn from these people? What are they able to teach you that you can teach us?
Okay, the most important thing for me is I wanted so desperately to especially work with the HICOM, but because I'm doing human wildlife conflict, I needed herding communities and herding tribes. So I've chosen the Ovaherero and the Damara because both owned livestock in these wildveld areas. Morné, before we start, can you please play us the voice clip of our 3-year-old Ovaherero woman that I interviewed, and then I just like everybody just to turn up their volume. They always speak to you outside under a tree, and there was a bit of wind, and the recordings weren't really made for playing. They were just made for transcribing. So if the sound quality is bad, I apologize, but this woman has some really important stuff to say.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cool.
Okay.
To describe that anymore, but one might say it's clever. It doesn't have hatred. It doesn't have hatred. Like henium wrack. It's clever. It doesn't forget that quick, because if you happen to chase it away in a cruel manner, it will go, because it's used to. If you frighten it, it will run away. Then don't forget that it will come back, and that will be your duty.
If you are mean to it or cruel to it.
Yes, it will come back today, tomorrow, and that will be your duty.
Now, doesn't that make it dangerous? Why do you have so much respect for it? Is it because of that thing that it does?
No. You see, once you are together, you have to try always and accommodate someone else up to a certain
point.
Yes. Yeah. So then he or she is taking it from there. So if it comes here, like it used to pass here, then if it passes here, and my dogs that doesn't know it barks, it is only warning them. Like in the stomach or something, or maybe if they like unhan, then it will scream.
Yes.
And if it happens to scream, those dogs will never bark at it again.
Okay.
It will only come, watch the light, because there's a light there.
Yeah.
Watch the light and make sure nobody is moving here. Say for instance, mostly by night.
Yeah.
Then that's only, you will watch it through the window, because you happen to hear the sounds of its movements. Then you know that it's an elephant that is on the way. Maybe it's going to pass by here, because that's the And one thing that we have to remember is that an elephant will never come where its parent never came. They used to follow the spoor. If it happens to come here, then remember, his mom or dad was here. That's what we have to know, for sure.
And for that reason, he has a right to be here.
Yes, he has the right to be here. only the point of accepting each other and having a room for each other. Those animals, remember in India, those people has got the tamed animals. How did they get hold of taming those big animals? Is by accepting them. And if we are not accepting them and regarding them as wild animals, it will remain as such, and we will remain in conflict.
And the lion?
The lion's behavior is cruel because the lion is ever angry. Actually, it's a shy animal. As to those people that are telling you that it will not attack you if you didn't harm it, if you didn't harm it. Like, for instance, it's only coming to poach animals because of hunger. Nah. But if you happen to shoot at it and shoot it miss, just harm it and follow it, you are going to fight because of self-defense. But if it happens to poach your animal and it run away, it will not be harmful. We are fighting animals because of the harm that we have caused to it once they have poached our animals. So if it is hiding in the bush and you are passing by, it will not attack you if it is not hungry. And for instance, if you are two, it will not even attack you because you are two. It is afraid. It knows very well, but if I happen to attack this one, the other one is going to attack me. So if it is not harmed, that is now when it is not harmed. But if it is harmed, can come what may come, it will fight back. It's quite difficult to describe that animal, but one might say it's clever. It doesn't have hatred. It's like a neem wrak. It's clever. It doesn't forget that quick, because if you happen to chase it away in a cruel manner, it will go, because it's used to. If you frighten it, it will run away. Then don't forget that it will come back tomorrow, and that will be your D-Day.
If you are mean to it or cruel to it.
Yes, it will come back tomorrow, and that will be your D-Day.
Now, doesn't that make it dangerous? Why do you have so much respect for it? Is it because of that thing that it...
Looping. Okay. It was looping. I was trying to get your attention.
It was starting again, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Beautiful, but wow, that's amazing. And it's so true.
The most important thing that she said there was, we are fighting animals because of the harm that we have done to them once they have poached our animals. And the choice of the word poaching is very interesting for me, because poaching just means to steal, to take what isn't yours. But the animals aren't judged for that at all. You know, I'm told that lions have feelings, and that even that, as I said earlier, they start where the light stops, because lions do fear light. So you need your fires, or you need your spotlights, and so on. And that, I think, is why they are so deeply, deeply respected, and feared. What I find for the elephant is this: it's a familial love. It's almost clan. They are described as human, very intelligent. And you heard her say that it doesn't take revenge. They have feelings, and that they are sometimes naughty. The word naughty comes up all the time.
Yeah.
When they destroy vegetable gardens, they are just naughty. They are naughty. You know, and these people plant, and they can't get compensation for a vegetable garden if the vegetable garden is smaller than 1.5 hectares. So if an elephant destroys your backyard garden, it's gone. There's nothing you can do. You're not getting anything back. And yet the tolerance for these animals is so high. It's remarkable.
I find that incredible because they have a natural animal communication, right? They have a natural way of, I mean, look, if we just go back to Linda Tucker's book, Children of the Sun God,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
And I would like to that was an incredible story. If anyone can get hold of that book, it's called Morné. Is it called Children of the Sun God, Linda Tucker?
It's called Children of the Sun God, yes.
Children of the
White
Sun
Lion.
God. It's the book on the white lions. And Linda Tucker, who Yanna and I both know, we've spent some very cool times with her. She's known in South Africa as the keeper of the white lions in the Timbavati. And that's where the white lions are endemic, because you're only going to find white lions in that area endemic because of the color of the felt. What is felt in Engels?
Felt. You added T at the end.
Field.
That becomes felt.
Wilderness.
Yes, the wilderness.
Nature.
What is felt in Engels? Okay.
My darling, it's called the savannas.
The savannas,
The
darling, of
savannas.
course. Okay, so the white lions are there, and she will tell you this beautiful story of the first time that she encountered them. They were on a whole group of them were out on a ride, okay, and their truck broke down, or the 4x4 broke down. Anyway, long story short, they were surrounded by an entire pride of lion. Okay, and as night grew, these lions were just getting closer and closer and closer and closer to their car. I mean, that is bloody scary. Guys, if you've ever heard a lion roar, I've heard lion roar like from I don't know how many miles away. The whole earth thunders. It shakes. I promise you it does. Okay, so then what happened was somehow one of the African ladies, I'm not sure what tribe she was from, but was known as the Lion Whisperer. She came, she walked towards them, walked through that pride, and if memory serves me, she had a baby on her back. And those lions did nothing. She got those lions away. She got everyone, and not even away. She just kind of like told them, you don't need to do any harm here. And I'm telling you, the minute, and as an animal whisperer myself, and I've not had experiences like that, although I wish I have had. I've had some pretty cool
You have
experience.
to come with me to Hobatere.
I'm coming.
Them's angry cats.
You're going to find me there, sister, sooner than what you think, I swear.
Yo.
Anyway.
Wasn't that she was a lion Shangoma? Wasn't she like a lion?
She was Sangoma, but she was the lion whisperer, and she literally walked through the pride of lion, got the people out there, and pretty much told the lion, "You do not need to harm these people." And this is what happens, guys. This is what happens when we have that. I mean, we've spoken before about the snakes on your previous property, the black mamba. They were there, and I spoke to the queen of the snakes, and she just said to me straight out,
Nobody believes me. Nobody believes
well,
me.
but you see, we're still in that place where people don't believe this, because then you could see the tracks. And after I'd spoken to her and saying to her, please, let's just share here, okay? There's children, there's animals, there's dogs, people are scared. Can we just make sure you guys walk on the one side of the property, or slither, or whatever it is you do, and then leave the rest of the property. And there was track marks of where they were then walking exactly where I told her to, okay? And then she came in a couple of weeks later in the gazebo, and I remember you calling me, and I said, leave her, don't touch her. They're testing you. If you're going to kill that snake, they are going to come in their hordes. And this is what people...
touch her,
Yeah, I know you didn't. She was gone after 2 days or something. But that's what I say. When we make friends with our environment, we must never forget we are encroaching on their space. And that is sadly what most human beings don't understand. They think they're encroaching on our space. We're encroaching on theirs. You look at an elephant. An elephant is going to be, when it migrates and walks to and fro, it's going to be walking the same track year after year.
But
And
that's
if
exactly
you have
what
now
she
built
said.
yourself a little village or a house or a palace on their track, expect that it's going to be crushed down. And then what happens, of course, now it's a problem elephant. And now Namibia and South Africa, hello, we call in the trophy hunters. Now we need to go and find trophy hunters from America and Europe and Russia and Spain that are now going to come kill the biggest animal in the herd because it's a problem animal. And they get paid hundreds and thousands of dollars for that.
Lots.
And they tell us that they're giving the meat to the community, which I don't believe, and maybe a small minuscule portion.
No, they do.
A minuscule portion. Those guys have all got houses at the coast. They've all got big fat 4x4s and God knows what all else. Please, I don't even want to talk about that. That's a story for another day. Those conservation hunters. No. Anyway, that's me.
Okay,
Then let's talk about that. I know we disagree.
have different views. Yeah.
Yes, we do. We do agree to disagree. Anyway, my point is that if we communicated with animals better, if we understood that they have a right to be there, it is their land as much as what it's ours, and we learn how to share, then that's what we learn. This is the first thing we need to learn from these people.
One of the omas in your country, a gogo, in my country, a cuckoo, but in Afrikaans, just an oma. She was telling me that it's fine if the lion takes a cow. It's fine. He's a wild animal. He's hungry. It's God's business. She will be repaid. It's okay. He also needs to eat. He also needs to live. And there are wild animals there. And she said in the old days, before the fences, there were lots of wild animals. And now they need fences to protect the wild animals because there aren't enough. So what has gone wrong?
Wow.
You know?
It's not.
So you sit there and you go, you know, because in the old days there were no fences and they had their cattle in Etosha and there was enough wild animals. Then they came and they saved Etosha, fortress conservation, throw all the people out because like people are bad. And now they need more fences to protect the wild animals because there's not enough.
Yeah, and everybody, for everybody that's watching the show, Etosha is like one of the biggest conservation areas in Southern Africa. It's in Namibia. It is this beautiful white band. It's like the largest conservation area here in Namibia and Southern Africa almost. So we're talking about the areas just around where these people are staying. They used to stay in the area. Now all the animals kept in this area and they're like on the side, and now they have to relearn how to live with nature. And it looks like they have learned how to relive with nature and we don't even get it yet. I mean, we as humans don't really get it.
But the
fence, really lost.
The fence mucked everything up. The fact that the moment they took those people out of that area, because fortress conservation doesn't work. People cannot live mutually exclusively from nature. And you need people to conserve nature.
Yes.
Because they understand the people who have lived on the land the longest know best to protect it. So these are just the facts. You cannot fortress conservation where you throw all the people out and you have a pristine environment where the animals live. Doesn't work. We've got to remove the fences and we've got to let the people who lived with the animals do what they did. Because
there's a question, interesting question. Did you see the question that just popped up there?
Hyper animal conservation protection. What is hyper animal conservation protection, Imi?
Well, it's
I don't understand.
To do with the United Nations, with the UN. Is the UN involved? Because then the CIA is involved.
No, what the UN actually did, the Rio Declaration of 92, was the first proper global declaration that recognized the importance of indigenous communities in protecting wildlife. And it's gone as far, Chantelle, that in Australia and New Zealand, they're using indigenous communities to predict climate change because they know, I forget now because I read these pieces about 2 years ago. If this kind of flower flowers, then there'll be lots of cod. If this flower doesn't flower, then there isn't going to be cod. And this flower doesn't flower because it's too hot. Do you understand? So
they're predicting the weather.
They are actually predicting the impacts of climate change.
Wow.
And they've also adapted their hunting strategies because this species occurs earlier and this. For us, I'm still sort of getting there, but I know that they say that the eagles and the hawks, for me, my Ovaherero people, the Ovaherero people, they say that when the hawks circle and they're flying up around and the eagles, then rain is coming, but they say there are no more hawks or eagles to see.
Wow.
So
wow,
I don't know what happened to the hawks
wow.
and the eagles. Yeah.
Where, okay, in a natural environment, where would
this
they
is a
have
natural environment?
Okay, so where do you think then? Where do you think they've disappeared to? Because they form such an. Okay, so it is where they. Yeah.
Yeah, but then another thing, while we're on the dry, on Saturday when I was there, I couldn't get hold of German. One of my most important, he's the traditional authority representative, fabulous man. But he was chasing 4 lions that had escaped out of the park, so he had to bring them back. So his brother phoned me, Siegfried, and interesting, they all have these German names except for German, whose nickname is German, but in any case. So he phoned me and he said to me, we're having a farmers association meeting. Now, who would figure in a conservancy, these communal farmers would have like 10, 12, 17 cattle, maybe 5 cattle. This is their numbers when they're goats and stuff. They're having a farmers association meeting. They discussed rotational grazing. So the entire conservancy agreed from this area, from this period to this period in months, because we know now it's drought, animals will be grazed in a specific block. Then they will be moved to the next block and the next block. And certain cattle posts, more on the periphery, will be saved for early next year if there still is no rain. So they're already, they're doing their rotational grazing and they're staying out of their game area, out of their core protection game area. They're not going there because the game must also eat. So they've done this whole community sort of work together rotational grazing schedule. Now you tell that to any commercial farmer in this country and they'll tell you it's nonsense because those oaks who are communal farmers are just primitive and pastoral and live in mud houses. And they know, they've done it. They know exactly where to go to preserve as much as they possibly can. And this is what completely blows my mind all the time. They know everything that we know, they just call it differently. And they knew it long before we did.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
The rhino is sacred. And Siegfried said to me, it was so interesting, if they did find a rhino that was maybe dead, or they had a rhino attacked and they had to shoot it, they had a healing piece of meat that was in the loin. I must still get the name. Nobody that I'm speaking to can remember. That was dried and then used as medicine. And then, of course, the meat was given to the communities and stuff. But the rhino can transmit the messages from the ancestors, rhino and cattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with the horn, right? No doubt. That's probably the antenna.
No, the horn was chucked. The horn was nothing. The horn was not
so,
important.
Of course, like the African people know, the rhino horn has no medicinal value. It does not give you a good erection, right? It does not make your penis grow 10 times its size, because that's really why they're taking the rhino horn.
No,
so the African
people
people understand
that
that holds absolutely no truth.
In the way that it moves in the veld, it actually gives you messages from the ancestors, especially after you've gone to the holy fire and you've asked for messages. The rhino and the cattle. So if
explain the holy fire. Explain to us the holy fire.
Okay, the holy fire. Oh, it's so cool. The holy fire belongs to a clan. So, like, if the Smith clan, because it would be my father's line, we would have our own holy fire in our own holy house. Okay, so only okay, I'm the man of the house. Okay, let's pretend my father was alive. So my father, if I was the man of the house, I'd be in trouble. I'd be a brother. Anyway, because only the men can own the holy fire. So But it's interesting, Chantelle, because you go to the holy fire if there's drought or disease or the family's in trouble, or today, for example, a child is being difficult or is maybe addicted or whatever the case may be, right? But only the men can go to the holy fire to speak to the ancestors. And they've merged Christianity and their traditional belief very well. So my father would go to his holy fire and he can only speak to his father, who is now passed. His father will then speak to all the other clan members up there, only men, and they would then go to Jesus or God to get this problem sorted, okay? But he can only go to the holy fire if his wife says it's okay.
Who runs the world? Women.
You see,
Who runs the
you
world?
see,
Women.
he can't even sell the overhead head, man, head of a household, cannot sell cattle without the input of the children and the wife.
That's so cool. I love how it's
There's
still
this balance there,
Yeah,
it's the yin and the
balance,
yang, no?
yeah.
So it's remarkable. So the holy fire belongs to the clan. So each clan has its own holy fire. They will then go, they will talk, also the naming ceremonies for the children and so on. But anyway, they will then go and they will talk to the ancestors. And then the ancestors will either answer them in a dream, if you dream of an elephant or a rhino, or the way the rhino or the cattle move in the veld. But the elders can read that. So if we had let the Ovaherero just live their traditional cultural way and we left them where they were, there would be no rhino poaching there.
I
because they
believe you.
would- Yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that.
Wow.
We fenced it up and we threw them
Yeah.
out. And okay, that was pre-independence, and then we gave them autonomy, which
It's like
is
if you just look at the conservations that now we've given them now they've got their land back, but they don't own the animals, so
Yeah.
it's almost like it's still not my land anymore. And
they
we've
need
been-
they need these animals, Morné. They like the
it's part of
eland. They need the medicine. The eland's stomach, the first stomach, because the eland obviously is a herkouer. It's a ruminant. So the water in the first stomach is medicine. Elephant dung is medicine because they believe that the elephant eats every single healing tree all around from everywhere and collects it for you and then poos it out.
Wow.
So if you light up the elephant dung and you sniff in the smoke, your nose will clear, you make a brew of it. Also, what you don't see, and you guys should know this, right? You, Morné, and even you, Chantelle, from South Africa. So in these informal settlements, the trees are like really chopped down. And like there's really like land destruction, environmental destruction in informal settlements around cities. You don't see that at Ehi. The Mapani tree, all of these trees are really actually quite holy, and they're used for everything. You don't see deforestation at all, and yet they use fire for their cooking, and so they're collecting dead wood. They're not chopping down trees. You don't see chopped down trees at all, anywhere. Not even around the Catholic Church. And yes,
But
there is
that's-
a Catholic Church.
What are you talking about? No, I refuse to accept that. Burn that thing down right now.
They're
Seriously,
everywhere.
we know what the freaking Catholic Church is about. Burn it.
So there's a school, and it's just in this one little community. We actually had to drive quite a while to find it, but we did find it. The marketing is not very good over there, but yeah. So the Holy Fire might take precedence. But yes, so there is a Catholic Church. Sorry, but yeah.
No, that's very, very distressing for me to hear with these ears of mine. I can't actually believe it. The Catholics have just infiltrated everywhere. It just makes me sick, actually, because it makes me realize that is probably 90% of the problem. That is probably 90% of the problem.
Although
because
let me tell you, these people are not having themselves removed from what they know, right? In exchange for the Bible. This is not happening. They found a sort of a nice congruency between God and the Holy Fire, but for the rest, You will not tell any of those Ovaherero that an animal has no soul. You will not tell them that. And their cattle are truly their lifeblood. Without cattle, I mean, there's been suicides, there's been strokes, heart attacks, because an Ovaherero man without cattle is dead. He has
Exactly.
nothing.
That's who he is, right? That's how he.
And yet,
But
the tolerance for these predators is sky high while they catch the cattle. It's remarkable.
wow.
It is
Yeah.
remarkable.
No, I believe that because they have such a respect for nature. They understand that the lion too needs to live and too needs to eat. So it's that whole
And
sharing.
it's a shared space. Yeah, it's a shared space.
So you have to share the space, and you have to be able to communicate with the non-human life around you.
Yes.
So it's amazing. But what I really love is what you were saying about this is a very much a matriarchal system. And isn't it interesting that all the ancient systems are matriarchal? Yes, absolutely. I get it. There has to be, look, the male has to be that physical strength provider, protector, because that's in the male's genes. Okay, that's who he is. And if he's not that, ask me after 20 years of being a healer, when a man does not take on that role for himself, never mind anyone else, but for himself, that's when you find lots of problems. And that's exactly the same thing here, right? So the men will always be that in the way. But what I hear and what I see with a lot of these tribes is that they value the woman. They see her as sacred. Okay, she gives birth. She's the creative force, right? So they value her.
Yeah.
And secondly, her wisdom is completely revered. So they understand the woman's intuition. The woman's power does not come in a physical form. It comes in a very non-physical form. She's wise. Yeah.
When they make their butter from their milk, because obviously their milk is very important, right? They're cows. So when they make their butter, a young girl, she has to be young, like premenstrual, young girl, must taste the butter to make sure it's okay. Because if she tastes the butter, then all the cows will give birth to females. Yes.
Wow.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
so cool.
incredible.
So cool. Yeah.
That's incredible, man. That's just so super cool.
But we always, I mean, Morné, you know yourself, we always thought the Ovaherero, the man has the final say and he's in charge. So not. But Chantelle, we know this. I mean, I've told you about JC. The lionesses are always in charge. The boys are big and they want their hair and they move their little heads and they're oomph. The girls, they run the whole show, man. They decide where we go, what we do. They do.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. I mean, it's not, you know.
Well,
but the same with the elephant.
Say what it wants. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
As well. Yeah.
The elephant is the
hyenas. They don't even allow the males in. They can visit for like 6 months. We can make babies and then you must tick. But you can also only eat last. So if you live with us for these, you're plotting here, you're just squatting for 6 months, then we'll hunt. You can have the bones when we're done. And then after 6 months, you must go, we've got our babies, thanks, Jeff.
Oh, well, you know, even with, we're on Aquarius Rising Africa, even if you look at the Luciferian Brotherhood, they're all run by the Queen Mothers of Darkness and stuff. It's all the women in the back room busy doing everything.
It's called
so even in the
Dux Femina Fakti. It was the woman who took the lead in action.
The creators and the destroyers.
But that's incredible.
Yeah.
But isn't that incredible? Because again, we see how the powers that be, the controllers, have completely flipped that upside down and made women into nothing. So God's creative life force, because women really are God's creative life force, Of
Yes.
course, we're all created from that spark of light, but women are the creators of life, right? And so they will do what the hell they can to suppress that, make us into nothing. I mean, just look at this. And I'm sorry, if you just look at this whole transgenderism agenda right now, I mean, I am appalled that it's even happening in the way that it is. I've got nothing against anyone who's transgender. I promise you, everyone for themselves. But the way it's being pushed and the attack on the woman, what are we now? We've been diminished to chest feeders. Who the fuck are you telling me I'm a chest feeder? You know, and birthing people or something like that, you know? So it's all of that. And yet you look at these tribes and you see the sacredness. And again, in nature, people, we just got to look at nature because nature is uncorrupted as far as that's concerned, right? You see that in many instances, it is the feminine energy that I don't say rules the tribe, but is head of the tribe. It's like the elephants, the matriarch, because they feel, they sense. And when a woman is in touch with her intuition, she's in touch with God. You can't go wrong then. Right?
No.
So
when a woman is in touch with her intuition, she is God. Okay, I shouldn't have said that.
Totally. Okay, well, we get you. I'll say we directly, exactly, we're the goddesses. Let's not argue the point. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
it is. It's just if women could stop trying to be like men, and just be our strong, beautiful, resilient selves, and stop trying to prove that we can do everything that men can do, everything will be better.
We're not men. Yeah. We're not.
No, we're not men.
We're not men. And we're never going to be men. And I don't ever want to be a man. And I love men. And thank God for men.
Amen.
Yes, had it not been for men, this world would not exist. You know, men have built this entire
we can make it better.
World. Well, what we need to do is fill. You see, they create the world, and we just fill the world with the juiciest niceness of what the emotions and the feminine energy is about. The men give structure.
We plant the seeds. Is it like we plant the seeds and we create it?
Is this a matter of if you build it, they will come? I don't want to be an interior designer. I want to be a builder.
But you can build and design.
Let's bulldoze the whole thing and start over. Really?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you know, the bottom line is that when we understand that one cannot effectively exist without the other, stop trying to be a man. I mean, I'm a strong, independent woman. It doesn't mean I don't want to cook my man a meal or run him a beautiful bath or pamper him and give him a massage on a Sunday afternoon. You know, these are beautiful things that we do for our partners. It doesn't make you less than if you're doing that. Now, you know, I see so many young women at the moment who are on this mission to completely compete with men, and I find it scary. I mean, and they do so sexually. I think I mentioned in one of the shows a little while ago, there is a group of these young girls that are on some app where they sell their services to men, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. At the age of 21, she has a body count. I didn't even know what body count meant until a few days ago. In other words, men that she slept with of 340. I'm like, well, I worked it out. That's like, it's like every second day. I mean, how old was she? Okay. My point is that is not the way to prove your strength or your independence or that you are a woman. A woman is subtle. She's not vulgar. She will use her strength in other ways. She's not in your face and like slapping you with all these things all the time and how much boobs can be flashed and what, all of these things. Subtlety is beautiful. Women are subtle and we are powerful and we are strong. And it doesn't mean we have to be sitting back and, you know, taking instructions. We are intelligent, but we do understand that as a man is one way, we are the other. Together we come together. There are going to be times when he leads. Yeah.
Is where ecofeminist theory comes from. Now, in ecofeminist theory, in communities or societies where women are suppressed, nature is more likely to be dominated. In cultures, yes, in cultures where women are honored and held high, nature is more likely to be preserved. So a
Exactly.
hunting,
Wow.
if you want to just sort of keep it a hunting versus a gathering culture, right?
Yeah.
Just to really simplify that, just in sort
Yeah.
of in the time that we have. So an ecofeminist theory is something that I'm really going to explore, because with my study, I'm going to work with the Damara, and I still need to get to know them. But I must first finish with my Ovaherero people, and then I'm tackling the commercial farmers. So they will be the third party on the boundary. So it's this whole little sort of community on the southwest corner of Itasha. And I want to see if I can fit ecofeminist theory anywhere in it. Because I find also that the hunting that the Ovahereros speak about, what they did yonder, way back then, and they can't do it anymore. I mean, the men couldn't be near their wives if it was a lion, and they had to take a lion out, so it was a problem animal, for a week. He couldn't drink, he couldn't be near his wife, anything. He had to be pure because he was upsetting the balance of nature. And even if he was just out to hunt a zebra, I was told by one of the men that his father would give him, those years they already had guns, his father would give him one bullet and say, you need to go shoot a zebra. There's your bullet. There's the rifle, go. One zebra. That's it. You miss the zebra, you come back, you got no more bullets. You get the one. You shoot the zebra. I need only the zebra.
Because it's
So
enough
they
to
only
feed
took-
what we need.
Yes, yes. And nothing was hunted until, well, they would take a zebra and a kudu and whatever. They would have the three sons go out, but each one would take one. And then it was done. And there would be no hunting until there was no more meat. Even if he didn't have an ox to slaughter, then they would go hunt. If he had an ox to slaughter, he wouldn't go hunt. So you only took what you needed. But even for those hunts, there would be no sex and no drinking 24 to 48 hours before, because you are disturbing the balance of nature.
Yeah. It's a respect, it's an honor,
Yes.
it's a connection.
You must be pure. Yes.
It's almost like
will
fasting,
not get
connection with
if you
spirit.
if
and
yes, yeah. You have to fast. They don't call it that. They just say, because you are taking something, so you must be clean.
Yeah.
And they would
exactly.
often, one woman told me, they would pick up the sand where they would hunt, where the animals would walk, and they would pick up the sand and rub it in their hands, and then they talk to the ancestors to ask them to help. They're on the spoor of the animals. So it really
And you see,
wasn't
when you do
it
stuff
wasn't
like that, and
sport.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's a big difference between hunting for the pot and hunting like that. As you say, one bullet. So
Got
he
one,
obviously would, yeah, and he would know that. I mean, you can't wound the animal. You
Yeah.
can't miss it, otherwise you don't get food.
Yeah.
And you can only bring one back. And if you don't, it's okay.
But in fact, I was told by one of them that the whole thing started becoming distorted when the first Portuguese people came in and they wanted zebra hide. And that's when they started, because they would trade weapons and and they wanted the hides. And that's when the whole thing, it became monetized. And this is the problem with our ministry, because our
What are you
ministry
talking
also,
about, Portuguese people? Hang on. I wanted, before you go there, and I want to know about,
remember,
are you talking about the colonization days already?
Yes, the early
Okay.
colonization days.
Okay.
So remember, we're very close to the Angolan border here, well, very close theoretically. It was sort of, as the crow flies speaking sort of thing. You got me off my thing now. I wanted to say something, now I forgot. Oh, yes, the ministry. The ministries, it's my tea I'm drinking. The ministry, their entire system of compensation is based on, or of the conservancy model, is based on the fact that if an animal has monetary value, it will be conserved. That is the cornerstone of the conservancy model.
And you want to tell me that's cool. So you see, this is where you and I exactly disagree. It's exactly that.
It's just interesting for me because these people, their level of tolerance, and the studies have been done. is not reliant on compensation. It's reliant on how much meat am I getting or how much involvement is there in the AGM. It's not money. Money doesn't crowd in or crowd out the intrinsic value of an animal. It has no meaning. It has. It's the animal is there. If I can have some of it for my cultural and my food and my family, then it's cool. But if I can't, then as many of them say, it just is what it is, and we are just here.
Oh my word! Wow, I want to see. Do we have any pictures of maybe the tribes that you saw? I know that you can't really.
I should have mailed, but I forgot. I forgot yesterday. I should have. No, but I'll next time.
That's
Next
cool.
time.
Cool.
I'll take nice pictures when I go up now in May as well, and then we'll next time when we talk. So then we'll have more stuff. When are you coming, Chantelle?
Don't tempt me, right? I haven't traveled for 3 years. I'm itching. My heart yakna.
We camp in Latte. I mean, in April, the lions were like 8 meters from our campsite. There's no fences. So, like literally, I was sitting with my little enamel cup of coffee and this pride was calling and the cup vibrated in my hand. So, and there's no fences. And those lions are quite angry. You think a lion is ever angry? Hobatere's lions are angry. Western Itocha lions are generally quite angry.
Why are they angry?
The area. Okay, so if you know, that's Kauriguas, I'll be working there. That's my Damara Conservancy. Have you got an Etosha National Park map? Just a basic map of Etosha National Park. Just Etosha.
Just
a map. You can just find me Etosha. Just Etosha. Now, can you see my mouse? No, right? You can't see my mouse.
No, I can't see yours.
Okay, goed. Okay, Morné, ek sien jou nou. Okay, move. Go left. My left. No. What you doing? Okay.
Left.
On the southern boundary of Etosha. No, on the... I love you. All right. You see that little point down on the bottom left-hand corner? Our left-hand side of the screen. Bottom, other side. Left hand. Go left. No. Stop moving the map. Okay, stop. Stop right there. Do you see the arrow? Okay, stop.
Yeah.
You see that pink splotch next to Etosha National Park, daai lippie daaronder. It looks like a
Yeah.
foot. That is Hobatere. 13 is Ehi. 3 is Kauriguas. And the pink is Hobatere. And then around that area is where I'm working on the commercial farmers. So that's my study area. 13, 3, I drink wine and sleep at pink. And then around that boundary, that's where those farmers are. For the Kamanyap Uchu farmers, I'm going to be chatting to them. The pink is the wine. Wow. Shanti, you must
That's
come.
amazing.
The wine and sleep at the pink.
Wow. Yanna, this is incredible.
Yes. Oh, and this Nyai Conservancy that they show there, that's the one conservancy that actually worked into its constitution the spiritual value of the animals. Got to give you Manfred Hinz to read. He wrote the anthropological law. He studied. He's in Bremen now, but he was here for many years. He wrote a book, Without Chiefs, There Would Be No Game. It's just the most incredible book. Most incredible book.
Wow.
Like the Okwanyama king would, at the start of the dry season, he would go and hunt. And he would be away for as long as it took for all the animals to birth before he came back. And when he came back, only then could the members of the community go and hunt.
Wow.
You see how that balance works. It's the same with the Ondonga people. When it floods in the north and the Oshanas are full, then the cattle can drink until it becomes brackish. The moment it becomes brackish, the cattle can no longer drink. And then that's the time that it takes for the fish, the tilapia and the catfish, to lay their eggs and to put them in the sand for the next season. So there's these rules.
Wow.
And they knew nothing of those I don't know if they knew, but these rules all worked for conservation. So there's cool stuff. Loads of cool stuff.
Pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. And now we're going to have to sign off because our time is up. But is there anything you still want to tell us before, because we're going to have you on once a month to share with us these incredible stories. So I just want to tell our viewers, this is not the first or the last you're going to be seeing of this Mikey from Maynard, this friend of mine. She'll be on a lot. We share lots of beautiful common interests, and I just love that she's out there doing this stuff and bringing it back for us to learn from. And really incredible, groundbreaking work you're doing, Yanna. This has never been done in Namibia before. So you are an absolute trailblazer. Aquarian, of course. What else? Another beautiful Aquarius.
This is my fault. No, but it's important work. It all started with the lion being an archetype, and it all came from the archetypes. So,
I love it.
It's important work. But I think the most important thing that we can take from any of this is really Women Who Run with the Wolves. And I mean, we've both read that. It's just if you learn to tend to the bones. And that's really what she meant. Just tend to the damn bones. And you'll find everything you need to know. Just tend to the bones. That's it.
Well, I can't hear you. So I've gone on a blank for a sec.
You'll come back now. Dear.
Tend to the bones.
Tend to the bones.
Tend to the bones, Chantelle. Tend to the bones.
I'm going to tend to those bones. Lovely, 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 lovely. It's been such a pleasure having you on, my beautiful friend.
No. The privilege is mine. The privilege is mine. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You are doing such incredible work, and I so look forward to following your journey and seeing where this takes you and takes us all, because we know that this is groundbreaking work, and we know that this is going to make what you're doing now has never been done before. It's groundbreaking. You're going to be literally calling out the government on their policies, which is going to be a challenge on its own. But you really are standing up for the people. And I love that. And thank you so much for what you're doing.
Stop talking while I'm trying to interrupt.
Really, really love you.
I think she can't hear you.
I don't think she can hear me. Stop talking. Shush. You. Shush. It's never all I want to do is I want the communities to be able to remember that they can help themselves. And I want government to understand that the communities can help themselves, if given the leeway to do so and a little bit of faith.
Government doesn't want them to, Yanna. This is the whole thing. I don't believe government wants anything of that anymore. And I tell you why, and we can have another conversation around this, because when you're looking at the freaking Catholic Church there, right, and you're looking at United Nations involvement there, and yes, they're always going to make it look like it's good and they're doing the right thing, but they come from with a very nefarious agenda. So my point is that I have no doubt people have been bought out, and I have no doubt that money has changed hands for all of this stuff to occur. But hey, in time we will see that, right? In time we will see that. And as people start empowering themselves more and more, as the community start empowering themselves more and more, because as we know, they are very smart, highly intelligent, brilliant farmers. They don't need any coaching or any teaching. They don't need to be hunted for. What the F? I mean, how degrading, how absolutely degrading for those communities. And that's all I'm saying. So at the end of the day, the government has to know the effect that is having on those people, and that disempowers them. So there's no ways.
Just quickly, I see Morné ran away. I just quickly want to say, so I took, because obviously they are very poor. So I got some clothes donated from friends, and I got some fresh veggies, and thank you to food lovers, like I got Pacomo gave me some flour and stuff. So I packed it all up and put some seeds in. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Okay. And now are you back now again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I packed it all like in open boxes and stuff for my first three households that I met, and I took it. Do you know that they were all very happy? Thank you very much. And I put the stuff down, and we sat down. Nobody touched those packages until my car was making dust. and I could see in my rearview mirror. They are that proud. They also will not let me photograph them, especially the women, if they are in their farm of Aherero dresses. No. They actually go and get changed. They get changed for a photo. That's the kind of pride they have. So these people, and the of Aherero are by no means people. No, this is a warring nation. And
No, totally.
Proud. So I
it.
don't see how the communities of Ehi are going to lose this battle. They're not going to lose it. They're definitely going to win it, but they're going to win it their way. This much I can tell you. With or without me, they will win it. So, closing thoughts.
Well, I think, is anyone talking except me? Because I can't hear anyone else.
No.
Well, we can hear you. We can hear you. Talk.
I can hear you now.
Said. Some things are just inevitable, eh? Something so inevitable.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, well, now that I can't hear anymore, time to go. Thank you so much, Yanna. Thank you, Morné. Thank you for everyone watching. We will see you back in a month's time with this beautiful, very special, very brave, very feisty friend and soul sister of mine. So we look forward to bringing you more. Take care, guys. Take care, guys. I love you madly. Like, share, subscribe. Just share this interview. It's such a beautiful, empowering story to actually listen to. Take good care, guys. Lots of love from us here in Africa.
Ciao.
Bye.